I never thought I'd be the kind of guy posting something like this online. You hear these stories, see them on Reddit, but when it's your life falling apart, it doesn't feel real. It's like watching someone else's nightmare unfold while you're strapped into their body, unable to wake up. My name is Adam, I'm 38 years old, and up until a few months ago, I thought my life was pretty normal. I've been married to Emily, 36, for 11 years. We have one kid, a son named Josh, who just turned 8. I work as a site manager for a construction company, and Emily works in marketing for a mid-sized tech firm. We met in college, and I always thought we had a strong bond. We weren't that passionate, crazy-in-love couple, but we had trust. We had history. At least, that's what I believed. Looking back, the signs were there. Subtle at first. Emily started working longer hours. More weekend team-building events. Work trips that never seemed to happen before. She'd always been talkative, sharing details about her day, office gossip, frustrations with her boss. Then, all of a sudden, she wasn't telling me much at all. When I asked, she'd say she was tired or that work was boring. I should have known. One night, about 4 months ago, she came home late again. Josh was already asleep, and I was in the living room, waiting. She barely said hello before heading to the shower. Her phone was on the table. Normally, she left it lying around without a second thought. But that night, as soon as she heard the water running, she rushed back out, grabbed her phone, and took it into the bathroom. That was the moment I knew something was wrong. At first, I didn't want to believe it. I didn't have proof. Maybe I was just being paranoid. But the feeling stayed, gnawed at me, kept me awake at night. The first time I truly confronted her about it was a week later. "Are you seeing someone else?" I asked, trying to keep my voice calm. She scoffed. "What? No. Where is this coming from? You're different, Emily. Distant. You hide your phone. You're always at work." She rolled her eyes. "I'm just stressed, Adam. I can't believe you'd even ask me that." I let it go. Maybe I was being crazy. But then came the second moment, the one that really sealed it for me. A couple of weeks after that conversation, Emily left her laptop open on the kitchen counter while she was making tea. She was logged into her work email. I wasn't looking for anything. I swear I wasn't. But a message preview popped up on the screen. It was from someone named Daniel S. "Yesterday was amazing. I can't stop thinking about it. Can't wait to see you again." I don't even remember what happened next. Everything inside me went cold. I grabbed my phone, took a picture of the email, and walked upstairs without a word. That night, I didn't sleep. I didn't say anything to her either. I needed more. I spent the next few days playing dumb, pretending everything was fine. In the meantime, I did my research. I found out Daniel was her colleague, someone she'd mentioned once or twice in passing but never in detail. He was younger than me, 32, single, and apparently the company's golden boy. Then came the day I found my confirmation. I had taken Josh to a friend's house for a playdate. On the way home, I stopped by Emily's office building, parking across the street where she wouldn't see me. Her late night at work was actually a dinner with Daniel. They walked out together, laughing, leaning close. She touched his arm. He brushed a strand of hair from her face. I felt sick. I went home and started moving some of my things into the guest room. When she came home, she barely even noticed. The next few days were hell. I was quiet, but she was too distracted to realize. Maybe she thought she was being careful. Maybe she thought I was too stupid to see it. But I wasn't. I didn't confront her right away. I needed a plan. Instead, I reached out to one of her colleagues. Someone I'd met before at company parties, Rebecca, a woman about Emily's age, who I always got along with. I sent her a simple message. "Hey Rebecca, I know this is a weird question, but can I ask you something about Emily?" Her response came quick. "Of course, Adam. Everything okay?" I hesitated, then typed. "I think she's seeing someone at work. A guy named Daniel." The dots appeared, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, she sent, "Adam, I don't want to be the one to tell you this, but you deserve the truth. It's been going on for months. I thought you knew. I'm so sorry." The ground beneath me felt like it was cracking open. But then she sent another message. I told her she was making a mistake, that she was going to lose you. She didn't listen. I stared at those words for a long time. Rebecca told Emily. And now, The waiting game began. Because if my wife thought she could cheat on me and walk away unscathed, she was about to learn how wrong she was. The moment Rebecca told Emily, things shifted. It wasn't immediate, but I noticed it in small ways. Emily started paying more attention to me, asking about my day, trying to make conversation over dinner. It was awkward, forced, like she was trying to gauge whether I knew something. But I didn't let on. I played my role. I let her wonder. One night, a few days after my conversation with Rebecca, Emily came home earlier than usual. She walked into the living room while I was watching TV, hesitating at the door like she wasn't sure if she was welcome. "Hey," she said. I muted the TV. "Hey." She hovered for a second, then sat down on the couch beside me. Not close, not touching, just enough distance to show she was testing the waters. "Work was good today," she said, her voice light, casual. "That's so?" She nodded, glancing at me like she expected me to ask more. When I didn't, she shifted uncomfortably. "I was thinking," she started, biting her lip. "We should do something together this weekend. Just us. Maybe go to that Italian place we used to like?" I looked at her, really looked at her. She was trying. Not because she wanted to fix things, but because she was scared. She knew something was off. "No," I said simply, turning back to the TV. She flinched like I'd slapped her. "Why not?" "I'm busy." I didn't elaborate. I didn't need to. She didn't argue. She sat there for a few more minutes, then got up and left the room. I didn't follow. The next day, I made my move. I reached out to Rebecca again. "Hey, did she say anything after you told her?" Rebecca responded almost immediately. Not directly, but she's been weird at work. Jumpier, paranoid. "I think she's afraid, you know." I smirked at the message. Good. Let her be afraid. I needed more, though. Rebecca had been honest with me, but I needed someone who wasn't just a colleague. I needed someone closer. Someone who could tell me how deep this went. So I did something that might seem crazy. I reached out to Daniel's ex. It wasn't hard to find her. Social media made everything too easy. I scrolled through his Facebook, found an old tag from a woman named Lisa, then looked her up. Her profile was public. Her bio read, "Single thriving." Dodged a bullet. I sent her a message. "Hey Lisa, I know this is random, but I think you used to date Daniel S. I'm reaching out because I think my wife is involved with him, and I need to know what kind of guy he really is." She read it almost instantly. Then she sent back 3 words. "Call me now." That phone call changed everything. Lisa didn't hold back. She and Daniel had been together for 3 years before she found out he was cheating. And not just once, with multiple women, all from work. He had a pattern. He targeted women in relationships, women he could manipulate, women who thought they were safe with him because he was such a nice guy. He thrives on women who think they'd never cheat, Lisa told me. He makes them feel special, convinces them it's harmless. Until it's not. My stomach churned. "How did you find out?" I asked. Lisa let out a humorless laugh. "His dumbass got sloppy. Left his email open one night. I found messages to 3 different women. Your wife wasn't the first, and she won't be the last." I clenched my jaw. "Did you ever confront him?" "Oh yeah," she said. "He cried, made excuses, tried to gaslight me, said it was just emotional and didn't mean anything. Then, a week later, I found out he was still doing it. Typical." Before we ended the call, Lisa said one last thing that stuck with me. "If your wife is with him, she's not special. She's just another name on his list." I barely slept that night. Not because I was heartbroken. No, that part of me had already started to shut down, but because my mind was racing with possibilities. Emily had destroyed our marriage for that guy? Some idiot who didn't even care about her? It was almost funny. Almost. The next day, I made another move. At lunch, I went to Emily's office. I didn't go inside. I just waited across the street, watching. Sure enough, at 12:30 sharp, she walked out. And not alone. Daniel was with her. They weren't holding hands, weren't doing anything obvious, but they walked close. Too close. He said something, and she laughed, tilting her head up at him in a way she hadn't done with me in years. I pulled out my phone and snapped a photo. Not because I needed proof. I already had enough of that. But because I wanted to remember this moment. The moment I realized I didn't love her anymore. The moment I decided I was going to make her regret everything. That night, when she got home, she hesitated in the doorway again. I was sitting in the kitchen, scrolling through my phone like I didn't have a care in the world. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," I replied, not looking up. She walked in slowly, setting her bag down. "How was your day?" "Good." Silence stretched between us. I could feel her staring at me, waiting, hoping I'd give her something. I didn't. Finally, she exhaled and muttered, "I feel like something's wrong." I smirked. "You think?" Instead, I just shrugged. "I don't know what to tell you, Emily." She bit her lip, frustrated. "Adam, if something's bothering you, we should talk about it." I turned to look at her then, really looked at her, and for the first time, I saw her not as my wife, not as the woman I had spent years building a life with, but as a stranger. A stranger who had no idea what was coming. "We'll talk soon," I said. Then I got up and walked away. The moment I told Emily, "We'll talk soon," I saw it. That flicker of panic in her eyes. She knew. Maybe not the details, maybe not how much I knew, but she knew I was different. And that terrified her. Good. I had spent too many sleepless nights questioning everything, wondering where I went wrong. But now? Now, I was in control. And I wasn't going to let her walk away from this unscathed. The next morning, I made my first move. I called Lisa again. "Hey," she answered, sounding more awake than I expected for 7 a.m. "I need your help," I said. She was quiet for a second. Then, "What do you need?" "I want to bury Daniel. I want him to lose everything." Lisa didn't hesitate. "I'm in." Over the next few hours, we put together a plan. Lisa still had old texts, emails, even photos of Daniel with other women from her relationship with him. Some of them overlapped with his time at the company. I knew Rebecca would back me up. I wasn't just going to ruin his reputation. I was going to rip his entire foundation out from under him. At noon, I sent an email to Emily's boss. Subject: Employee misconduct urgent. Body: Hello, boss's name. I am reaching out to bring a serious issue to your attention regarding Daniel S. at your company. I have reason to believe he has been engaging in inappropriate workplace relationships, including with my wife, Emily. Attached are some messages and documents that I believe warrant an internal investigation. I trust you will handle this appropriately. Best, Adam. Attached were screenshots of Lisa's old texts, proof of him pursuing multiple women at the company, and the email I had taken from Emily's laptop, the one where Daniel had written, "Yesterday was amazing. I can't stop thinking about it." I didn't name Emily directly. I didn't have to. I knew her boss would connect the dots. Now, it was just a waiting game. That evening, I prepared my next step. I had already moved my essentials into the guest room, but this time, I packed a full suitcase. Clothes, important documents, my laptop. Emily noticed immediately. "Where are you going?" she asked, trying to keep her voice light. I zipped up the suitcase without looking at her. "I think we should spend some time apart." Her face paled. "Adam, what's going on?" I finally met her eyes. "Why don't you tell me?" Her breath hitched. I don't know what you mean." I scoffed, shaking my head. "I know, Emily." She blinked rapidly. "Know what?" I pulled out my phone and opened the photo I took of her and Daniel walking out of the office together. Her eyes went wide. "I know about you and Daniel," I said, my voice cold. "I know about the emails. I know about the lunches, the late nights. I know everything." Her mouth opened, then closed. "Adam, I cut her off." "Save it." She swallowed hard. "It didn't mean anything." I laughed. "It never does it?" She stepped forward, reaching for me, but I moved back. "Adam, please," she whispered. "We can fix this." I tilted my head. "Funny. You weren't interested in fixing things when you were sneaking around with him." Tears welled in her eyes. "It was a mistake." I gave her a long, hard look. Then I said the one thing that truly broke her. "No, Emily. It was a choice." She let out a choked sob. "I don't want to lose you." I slung my bag over my shoulder. "You already did." Then I walked out the door. The fallout was immediate. The next day, Rebecca texted me. "Holy shit. Daniel just got pulled into HR. People are talking. He looks wrecked." An hour later, Lisa sent another message. Just got word from a friend. He's getting fired. They're saying it's a pattern of inappropriate behavior. By noon, Daniel was out of a job. By evening, Emily was calling me nonstop. I ignored her. I wasn't done yet. The next weekend, I took my revenge one step further. I met up with Lisa and Rebecca for dinner at a restaurant Emily and I used to love. I made sure to take a photo with them, laughing, drinks in hand, and posted it. No caption, just enough for Emily to see. It took less than an hour before she called. I let it ring. Then came the texts. Emily, why are you with them? Emily, Adam, please, can we talk? Emily, I miss you. I love you. I let her stew. I wasn't coming back. By the time I finally spoke to Emily again, the divorce papers were already in motion. She begged. She cried. She promised to change. I didn't care. She had made her bed. Now, she had to lie in it. I didn't go back. Not even once. The moment I walked out of our house, I knew there was nothing left to save. And despite Emily's desperate calls, texts, and attempts to talk, I had already made my decision. She had already made hers when she chose to betray me. I moved in with a friend for a while, then found my own apartment. It was smaller than the house, but it was mine. Clean. A place where I didn't have to wonder if my wife was sneaking around behind my back. Emily, on the other hand, was unraveling. The first time I saw her after leaving was at the lawyer's office. She looked different, tired, makeup barely covering the dark circles under her eyes. She'd lost weight. The confident, secretive woman who had been lying to my face for months was gone. Adam, she whispered when she saw me. I didn't respond, just sat down across from her and focused on the paperwork in front of us. Her lawyer spoke first. Emily is hoping for an amicable resolution. I glanced at my lawyer, then back at her. Amicable? I said, voice calm. She wasn't too concerned about being amicable when she was cheating on me. Emily flinched. I already told you, it was a mistake. I ignored her and turned to her lawyer. I want the house sold. We split what's left after expenses. No alimony. No second chances. If she fights me on this, I'll subpoena her work records, her text messages, everything. Emily's lawyer shifted uncomfortably. He knew I had the upper hand. Emily, however, wasn't ready to give up yet. Adam, please, she said, voice cracking. I don't care about the money. I just want to fix things. I exhaled slowly, looking at her. You don't get to fix this, Emily. You lost that chance the moment you let him into your life. She broke then. Right there in the lawyer's office, she put her head in her hands and sobbed. I didn't comfort her. She hadn't comforted me when I was losing sleep over her lies. The divorce took months, but in the end, I got exactly what I wanted. The house was sold. She got half, but it wasn't much after legal fees and outstanding payments. She had to move into a small apartment. I later heard that she tried to get back with Daniel. It didn't work out. From what Rebecca told me, Daniel had already moved on, probably to the next woman foolish enough to believe she was special to him. Emily, for all her begging, all her promises to change, ended up alone. Me? It wasn't easy. Even after everything, the nights were hard. The memories didn't fade overnight. There were moments I almost texted her, out of habit more than anything. But I stopped myself. She wasn't my wife anymore. She was just a lesson, and I had learned it well.